Students of Supercharge, your Spanish conversations with speaking practice, must take some action steps every week to skyrocket their Spanish speaking skills. So this is not just about sitting in front of the computer, learning grammar. You must take action and take everything that you've learned in this lesson today, or whenever you take the lesson, and take it out in the real world and put it into practice and see how that works in the real world. So this week's for lesson number 5, the action steps for our students are to arrange the next set of meetings on the 3 platforms that we are already familiar with: italki, meetup.com, and Internations. So go out there and practice your Spanish speaking skills. We are already on week number 5. So you've got a lot of content that you have already learned and that you can put into practice out there. Your step number 2 is to complete the student's workbook. So that is one way in which you can make sure that you have understood the grammar topics that we have explained in this lesson. And when you do that practice with the exercises is when questions will come up. And then you can ask the questions in the Facebook group and we can answer those for you. Any doubts, any clarifications that you need, we can do that for you. Number 3, this week, as you already know, we have already gone through that in the Spanish conversation section, is eat and drink. So it's food and drink. How do we do that in Spanish? How do we order at restaurants and bars? And in your Easy Spanish Phrase ebook, there is a big section between sections 30 and 39 where you can add a lot more expressions and vocabulary and information about how we do that together with the pronunciation in the Spanish language. Number 4, this week's pronunciation practice is about the letters B and V. So the audios are included in your student workbook as usual. So go through that and make sure that you do the practice with those 2 letters. This week's reading practice is story number 6 of your first Spanish reader ebook. So it's called Joey's Mathematical Fiasco. So go through that story. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of new vocabulary. So make sure that you read that this week. Exercises. So step number 6 for exercises 3, 4, 5, and 8, we strongly recommend, like every single week, to record yourself reading, whether it's a small section of the story or a longer section, is entirely up to you, and repeat the pronunciation, record yourself, and then play it back to yourself. And make sure that you do understand it, that it makes sense to you, and if there are any questions about it, come to the Facebook group and ask your questions so we can help you with that personally. Step number 7, translation. So we are training our brains to think in both languages as early as possible, both in English and in Spanish. And for that, we've got that book that's got the 2 versions of the story in both languages, English and Spanish, so that you don't need to move away from that resource to look into any other book, any other dictionary, or anything online, because all of that information is in the same material, in the same ebook. And the translation exercise for this week is on page 213 of the same book. And this week's listening practice on language transfers are going to be tracks number 17 all the way to 23. So feel free to revise anything that you've learned up until 17 in the last few weeks, and or if you are ahead, congratulations on that. So you can jump around if you like with those tracks on language transfers. But for this week, lesson number 5, focus on tracks 17 to 23. So the next steps for students in Supercharge your Spanish conversations with speaking practice are as follows. So we can help you keep focused, keep on track, and make sure that you know what you need to do once you finish with the video lessons. So once you finish, you can go to your course webpage and download your students workbook if you haven't already. It's week number 5. And practice the exercises in there. You've got the audios for pronunciation, you've got the grammar exercises, and you've got the language prompts that you can bring to your practice on Thursdays. So everything is there. So make sure you complete that workbook, so you make sure that you are familiar and that you are confident about using the material that we have taught you this week about the regular verbs in this case. Share your progress, share your experiences, share your stories with us. So anything that happens in your meetings out there, so tell us what's happened, what stories have come up, what conversations have you had, who have you met? So how has that happened? Has it happened in the UK? Has it happened in Spain? Let us know, because we would love to know those stories. And also, obviously, if you have any questions, always come to the group and ask, because this is what we are here for. And then coming up in your next lesson, number 6, we are going to be teaching you everything there is to learn about the Spanish numbers. As you know, numbers are an important part of daily life. And we are going to teach you how to use the cardinal numbers as well as the ordinal numbers, how to use them in Spanish, and the letter that we are going to focus on next week is the unique Spanish letter ñ. So we are going to be giving you lots of tips and tricks on how to nail the pronunciation of that letter. It's really, really easy. So we'll be showing you that in the next lesson. And the conversational topic for next week is how to tell the time in Spanish, together with loads of infographics and loads of supporting material to help you with that topic. Do not forget to come and join us in your Ask Beatrice Q&A session on Mondays at 4 p.m. UK time. And on Thursdays, you've got your all-important Spanish speaking practice with all of the material that you're learning and all of the knowledge that you are acquiring with these lessons. And we meet every Thursday to practice those topics with the language partners within the Facebook group at 4 p.m. in UK time.